Hello and welcome to our virtual yoga class. My name is Vanessa and I'm here to support you for the rest of the class. We'll begin laying on our back, so take a moment to make your way there, noticing that your yoga practice begins right now. As you transition to lay down towards the floor, stretching your legs out, hands, palms can frame your hips. You can also rest your hands on your belly, your chest. Legs are long. You're very purposely starting to release those to-do lists for later in the day or tomorrow. You're practicing that art of returning to the body and returning to this present moment. So we'll welcome a breath, inhaling here, exhaling, sighing out. Notice an expansion of the belly as you inhale. And I recommend exhaling, sighing out to start building that bridge, that connection, that awareness of how your breath influences the physical, mental, emotional body. So you're inhaling here, exhaling, releasing tension physically, mentally, and emotionally. And just by being intentional, we can integrate that connection even further. We can build a stronger bridge. Take this opportunity, this moment on the mat, the rest of your practice as a moment to reset and to self-care. Inhaling and then exhaling, sighing out, starting to notice your neck, shoulders, spine, hips, down to your ankles and toes. Noticing how as we invite intentional breaths, we learn to perceive more subtleties and nuances in the body. Notice what feels comfortable and what feels uncomfortable. I like to emphasize that there's a range here. We're always exploring paradoxes in our bodies. Right now, I'm emphasizing what is in a space of discomfort and then what is in a space of comfort. See, we can hold that paradox. Another intentional breath here, inhale, exhale, and then whole body stretch. Lift your arms up overhead, point your toes. Now, you can take whatever it is that you need here. It's more of a gentle way to wake up throughout the length of the body. I like to place specific attention to ankles and toes, around the abdomen, lower back, and then up towards the shoulders, neck, the length of the arms, all the way up to the palms. You can lengthen as much as you can. You can swivel a little bit towards the left, towards the right. Re-engaging with your breath. Intentional breath, inhale, exhale. And after a few breaths here, you can start to release. Bend both knees, feet on the floor. You're going to rest that right shin right on top of your thigh. It could be your shin or ankle. You can make any adjustments with that left foot, bringing that left foot maybe a little closer to your glute. You're going to take that right hand, weave it between your legs, interlace your fingers behind that left foot. Left thigh. Right hand weaves between your legs, your fingers interlace behind that left thigh, left foot floats up. You're placing attention to your right hip here. Breathing into a boundary here, not forgetting your breath.
Bring your thigh closer towards your belly or chest and intensify the stretch. Now, as you bring your thigh closer towards your belly and chest, it can be a very subtle shift. Inhale. Exhale. And then release. Feet float off the floor. Cup your knees with your hands. Round your spine. Forehead towards your knee. Chin towards chest. Hold. And drop your head back. Opposite side. Left shin on top of your right thigh. It could be your shin or your ankle. Weave your left hand between your legs. Interlace your fingers behind that right thigh. So that right foot will float off the floor. You can hang in here or intensify that stretch. Bring your thigh closer towards your belly, your chest, and breathe. You're breathing into your boundary here. Left ankle or foot can be soft, or you can purposely flex that foot. Deep belly breath in, breathe into that stretch. Focus on your left hip. Inhale. Exhale, 2 more breaths here. And then release, feet float off the floor, hands grip your knees, round your spine, forehead towards your knee, chin towards chest. We're extending that stretch into the mid-back, upper back, around the neck. And then release, lengthening your legs, interlace your fingers. Full body stretch here, lifting your abdomen up towards the ceiling, releasing any compression there around the lower back and mid-back. And then release. Let's ground our palms onto the mat. We're gonna lift up, keeping both legs long. We're gonna focus on our hamstrings, flex our feet, lead down through our chest, our heart. Hands can reach thighs, shins, or toes. You can add a little bend to your knees. 5 deep belly breaths. Feel free to hear your inhale and exhale. That supports you in engaging deeper with your breath. You can always lengthen the length of your inhale and exhale a little longer than you're accustomed to shift your attention back to the breath. Catch your breath here, inhale, exhale. And then release. Bring both soles of the feet
together, fold over. Second breath cycle and third. Dropping your belly towards the mat, lengthening the spine, chin is soft. And then release. Shift into a cross-legged position. Let's focus a little bit here on the neck, shoulders, upper back. First, lengthen your spine. Ground your sit bones on the floor. One intentional breath. You're lengthening the inhale and exhale. Exhale. Release on following inhale. We're going to lift our arms up overhead, palms up towards the ceiling. Lengthen throughout the elbows. And now release your hands right behind your head, twist towards the left and towards the right, leading through your chest, either moving quickly between both sides or remaining in one side, breathing into the stretch. We're taking care of the length of our spine here, namely the mid-back, and up towards the upper back. And after a few times there, release, hands rest on your knees. Shift your shoulders up towards your ears, draw them back 3 times, lifting up, purposely drawing them down. And then after those 3 rounds, release your chin towards your chest, roll your head from one shoulder to the next. Notice which areas feel sore. You can move quickly or slowly. You can also move in a full 360 or just half a circle. Few more breaths here, about 3 breaths. And then bring your head back to a neutral position, spine long, palms resting on your knees. 3 breaths here. We're practicing presence and arriving to the body. We're doing that continuously throughout the class. So this breath is a practice of presencing over a period of time, expressing gratitude, welcoming the breath, and then welcoming our experience. We inhale and exhale for the day we've had so far. We inhale and exhale for this moment. This is how we start to slow down our relationship with time. Then after a 3rd breath, inhale here, exhale, we breathe for the rest of our day. This is a breath that honors our past, our present, our future. After those 3 breaths, we lift our arms up overhead, interlace our fingers, palms up towards the ceiling. Round your spine, chin towards chest, palms towards the front. Inhale.
Exhale, take your hands forward. We're gonna lift up into a forward fold. Your feet will be grounded onto the floor. Soften your neck, your head. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release. We're going to sweep our arms up overhead, grounding to our feet, lengthening our spine. And meet in front of our heart center. We inhale here. Exhale, release our hands. Inhale, lift our arms up overhead. Exhale, bend our knees, fold down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, soften your legs, your feet. We're gonna ground, step back into a plank pose, release down towards the floor. Tops of the feet are on the floor as you lift up into an upward facing dog, engage your glutes. Curl your toes, downward facing dog. Inhale, exhale. Take your gaze between your hands, walk or jump up to that forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, sweep your arms up overhead. And meet in front of your heart center, mountain pose. We're noticing both palms touch. Generous breath. 2 more sun salutations. We lift our arms up overhead, extending our spine. Exhale, fold down, softening our neck and head here. Make sure you're not crunching up around the neck. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, move through your vinyasa. Plank pose, release down towards the floor. Inhale up, upward facing dog. And then shift up into your downward facing dog. You're in that upside down V. Distributing weight. Wrap your fingers and palms. Take your gaze between your hands. Walk or jump up to that forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release. Let's sweep our arms up overhead. Grounding here, palms touching hands in front of our heart center, our chest. We inhale here, exhale. Release your hands, third round. We inhale up. Exhale, bend your knees, fold down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, step back into your plank pose. Release down towards the floor, and then inhale up, upward facing dog. Curl your toes, downward facing dog. Remain here in your down dog. Lift your left leg, bend your left knee, stack your hips to the left, ground through your palms, bring your chest closer towards your thigh. And then release your foot back down towards the floor. Generous breath here, and then full body strength. We lift our right leg, bend our right knee, and then stack our hips to the right. Grounding through our palms, bringing our chest closer towards our thigh. And then release our foot down towards the floor, and then shift down into a child's pose. Arms are stretched out long. Knees can either be close together towards the edges of your mat. Re-engage with the breath. See if you can lengthen your inhale and exhale longer than you're accustomed to. Two more breaths here in your child's pose. And then after those breaths, start to ground your palms onto the mat. Transition into a tabletop. Your knees are hips width distance apart, and then hands are about shoulder width apart. Place your weight on that left palm. Lift your right arm up towards the ceiling. And then release, opposite side, right hand onto the mat, floor. Lift your left arm up towards the ceiling. Release your hand, lift up, downward facing dog. Remain here in your down dog. Softening your neck. A little bend to your knees, breathe into your hamstrings, the backs of your legs. Take your gaze between your hands, walk or jump up to that forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release. We're going to roll up slowly to standing. Your arms are going to dangle. Legs slowly lengthen. Spine lengthens. And then we'll come into a very stable mountain pose. So in a stable mountain pose, our palms frame our hips, fingers spread wide, just like the name of the pose, mountain pose. Here you can invite a stability and power. You're noticing your heels and your toes. Core is active. If I try to move you, it would be difficult to do so. Eyes can be opened or closed. By welcoming our breath, we welcome our experience. Let's inhale here, exhale. Second cycle of breath, inhale, exhale. Third cycle of breath, feel free to exhale, side up. Soften your mountain pose, a little softer mountain pose, hands in front of our heart center, intentional inhale and exhale. Very good. This is a practice of slowing down, being with our body. Part of the more difficult parts of yoga is just being still. Acquaint yourself with those subtleties and nuances in the body. We'll release our mountain pose and shift into another powerful pose, our goddess pose. We're going to lengthen our stance considerably here. It just depends for everyone, so find a good long stance where you're going to pivot your right toes and left toes towards the wall, or wherever they're facing for you. Or right toes to the right, left toes to the left, and then your heels turn inwards. Now you're going to drop your tailbone here. Hands can be in front of your chest and heart. You're firing up your glutes and quads. There's a lot of strength here in this pose. You're grounded here. Inhale, exhale. Keep your gaze steady on one point across the floor or room. Breathe into your belly. Core is active. We slide our shoulders down. And then release the pose. Now shift your toes towards the front. We'll shift into a wide-legged forward fold. We're going to take our hands to our hips, fold halfway, and then all the way down. Breathe into your hamstrings, backs of the legs. Different positions here with your hands. You can cup your elbows with your hands. You can grip your toes with your fingers, or you can drop your hands onto the mat. Making adjustments here with your stance. Make sure you're not locking your knees. And then feel free to hear your inhale and exhale. Please be mindful of softening the upper back, neck. Do not hold up your head. You want to release your torso. Inhale, exhale. Take your hands up to your hips. Press through heels and then lift up here. Take your feet closer together, about hips to the distance apart, our regular stance here. Inhale, extended mountain pose. We extend our spine, lift our gaze up towards the ceiling, hold here. Exhale, fold down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, step back, plank pose. So in our plank pose, let's hold our plank pose. Inhale here, exhale. You're engaging your glutes, lifting your core up towards the ceiling. Pressing through your palms, even breath. And then release your belly towards the floor. Knees reach the floor, belly on the floor. Either interlace your fingers or shoot your fingertips behind you. Either way, you draw your shoulder blades purposely close together. Feet float off the floor, 5 rounds. Inhale up. Exhale, release 2 more times, or 4 more times. Inhale up. Exhale, release. You're strengthening the lower back, mid back, opening around the abdomen. A total of 5 rounds, using your inhale to find that lift. Now mentally prepare yourself that for your 5th round, you're going to hold the pose. 5th round, stay there, an extra inhale, exhale of anywhere 2, 3, 4, even 5 drops. Up to you, you can determine where that endurance is. Be careful with your lower back. And then once you've taken those breaths that you need in that last locust pose, release. Any cheek onto the floor, collapse your shoulders. Now it's difficult to take a deep, powerful breath when we're resting on our belly. So just invite a comfortable breath and then soften your physical body. And you're noticing that relationship where you can remain mentally aware and focused as you're resting your body. That's a very critical experience. We want to reacquaint ourselves with our bodies, where our bodies are relaxed, yet our mental energy, our attention is still attentive. So notice about 3 consecutive breath cycles. Inhale, exhale. Notice that breath. You're still working on that focus, that attention. Arrive to your body. Notice your 2nd cycle of breath and notice your 3rd cycle of breath. Two more breaths here, softening, relaxing the body, arriving to your breath. And then after that breath, we'll start to take your hands and frame your chest. We're going to lift up into an upward facing dog, engaging your glutes, tops of the feet are on the floor. And then shift into a downward facing dog. In your down dog, lift your left leg, bend your left knee, stack your hips. Bring your chest closer towards that right thigh. And then release your foot back down towards the floor. And now opposite side, lift your right leg, bend your right knee, stack your hips. So you can do this in a tabletop as well. Right now, I'm emphasizing a downward facing dog. Release your foot back down towards the floor, shift down into a tabletop. Inhale up, cow pose, lifting your tailbone, releasing any compression there around the lower back, mid back, around your spine. Take your chin towards your chest. You want to release around the upper back, between your shoulders, around the neck. Moving at your own pace, inhale up, cow pose, exhale around your spine. So there is a natural inhale in your cow pose, a natural exhale in your cat pose. So it's very common to sync up your breath with each of those movements. However, you can also remain in a cat pose, breathing into an inhale, exhale, another breath. Whatever it is you need to explore and open up here. Same thing with a cow pose.
naturally lift into an inhale in your cow pose. If you want to remain there an extra amount of time, exploring any releasing of tension throughout the spine, go ahead and do so. It's not incorrect to hold the pose with several breaths. And after a few rounds there, we'll start to work on our neck. You're gonna take your gaze over your right shoulder. You're focusing on the side stretch there in the neck, and then drop your head fully, top of the head, parallel to the floor. Look over your left shoulder. Focusing on the sides of the neck here, upper back neck. And after a few rounds, start to release. We're going to lengthen our legs out in front, and then we're going to shift to lay on our back. So as your head reaches the mat, palms will face up towards the ceiling. We're going to take an inhale here, exhale, side out. Releasing any tension. You've been moving a lot of mental, emotional, physical energy throughout the class. Let's inhale here, exhale, side out. Start to bend both knees. We'll shift into a twist. Bring your arms out to a T. You're gonna drop your knees towards the left. Turn your head towards the right. You wanna make sure your knees and your head are facing opposite directions here. You're releasing throughout the lower back and the hips, throughout the spine, mid-back as well. You're letting to soften here onto the mat. Two more intentional breaths here. And then release, bring your knees back to center, drop your knees towards the right, and then turn your head towards the left. Invite a comfortable breath, soften the hips, lower back. Inhale. And then exhale, release. Feet will float off the floor, hands towards your knees, round your spine, forehead towards your knee, chin towards your chest. Drop your head back, and then rock to the left and to the right, massaging the lower back. And I'll lengthen both legs onto the mat, palms face up towards the ceiling. Gather your inhale here, exhale, side out. Remind yourself what your full breath is like. This is a breath you can go back to at any time throughout your day.
And as you've reacquainted yourself with that full breath after 1, 2, or 3 breaths, you'll start to settle into your Shavasana, your last resting pose, legs long, palms facing up towards the ceiling, framing your hips. You can practice some long, intentional deep breaths, or you can allow your breath to go back to its natural rhythm.
Soften your forehead, jaw, neck, shoulders. Scan your awareness down your arms, your wrists, palms, fingertips. Soften the upper back, mid back, lower back, hips behind the knees, down to your ankles and toes. Release, receive, and integrate. And then notice that wisdom of being still in the body, doing nothing, releasing expectations. And then you'll start to shift attention to your breath, inviting a generous and leisurely inhale and exhale. Restore some movement to your fingertips and your toes. You can invite a full body stretch, lifting your arms up overhead, pointing your toes, and or turn your body to one side, allowing it to remain heavy and relaxed. Inhale and exhale, a generous and a leisurely breath. And then after another breath or two, start to make your way up to your seat. Notice that by welcoming your breath, you're welcoming your experience. And that's a skill to cultivate. And that note, we'll seal the class, taking our hands in front of our heart center. Let's inhale here and exhale. And in the tradition of yoga, the highest in me sees the highest in you. May we walk with each other in gratitude.